Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the second installment of my series I am calling Looks and Books. I will be doing a makeup look as I review a book, and today's book is actually Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and my look was inspired by the book. We're just going to disregard the fact that I have green hair and it doesn't quite go with it, but I think it came out great. So if you'd like to see how I did this look and what I thought about the book, just keep on watching. My book actually didn't have a description on the back, so I went to Wikipedia, and this is the summary that they had. Mr. Bennet of the Longbourn estate has 5 daughters, but his property is entailed, meaning that none of the girls can inherit it. His wife has no fortune, so it is imperative that at least one of the girls marry well in order to support the others in his death. Jane Austen's opening line, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife," is a sentence filled with irony and playfulness. The novel revolves around the importance of marrying for love, not simply for money, despite the social pressures of making a good match. So I first read this book when I was 14, so that was like, a freshman in high school? And at the time, I was in love with the idea of love, and Pride and Prejudice really showed me the depth and the facets that can accompany one's journey on finding love and how you can find it in unexpected ways, which I actually really enjoyed. I really like all of the characters in the book, but I mean, if I had to choose a favorite, I think it's kind of obvious that I might choose Elizabeth. I just love her as a character, and I actually really like Mr. Bennet too. I think something about him just kind of reminds me of how my dad was. My least favorite characters are like the top, Lady Catherine. I just do not like her one bit. And then following close behind, I'd have to say Wickham and Mr. Collins and Lydia, but they're just both more on the annoying side rather than me having a strong dislike toward them. And if I could visit anywhere in the book, I think, of course, like you're going to think of the top 3 places, which are Longbourn, Pemberley, and Netherfield Park. I mean, they just all sound so wonderful to me, and I would just love to go to some place like that. Now, when I first read this, it was a little more difficult for me to read. I hadn't quite read anything with that diction before. I never read anything historical, so it was a little difficult. But after getting used to it and rereading it a few times, it's one of my favorite books. I think Jane Austen has a really good way of storytelling, and I just fell in love with all the worlds she created, and especially Pride and Prejudice. That's at the top of my list. I have read all of her books and I enjoyed them all. For this book, I do think it's a little predictable in how it's going to end, but I don't mind that much. I would say that this is more character driven than plot driven. It has a pretty solid plot, but then the characters are really what moves the whole story forward. I really enjoy the progression of the relationship between Elizabeth and Darcy. They pretty much went from disliking each other right from the get-go, and then opening themselves up to the possibility of letting feelings in, and then actually falling in love. I really like the relationship between Jane and Bingley as well. You don't get as in-depth with their relationship in the book, but then theirs is more of like a silent courtship that you see from the sidelines, but you can actually tell that they're really in love. And then you get to a relationship like Lydia and Wickham's. I don't even know where to start on that relationship. It just is not a good pairing. You know, you think in the back of your mind, that poor girl, she has no idea what she's getting into. But then maybe I kind of want to give Wickham, maybe the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he does learn to love her. Maybe she matures more. Maybe they do have a healthy relationship down the line. I mean, it'd be cool to see fan fiction surrounding them. Maybe see where their story went after the book ended. And I actually think it would be kind of interesting to see more about Mary. You don't really get to see too much of her in the book. And I think it would be really awesome to see where Kitty ended up as well. So maybe a story about Mary and Kitty and see where their lives took them after the end of the book. Overall, I think the storyline and the progression of this book is really realistic. I liked how it ended, of course, and then I think the pacing was pretty good as well. It just gets some getting used to at the beginning. Another one of my favorite parts in this book that I wanted to touch on was the fact that they convey so much in letters. I actually love writing handwritten letters as well. And I think it's like, something that's not done as often anymore. But I think there's just something so genuine and just so feel good about writing letters and receiving handwritten letters that I just love how they showcase that in the book as well. I don't know, maybe I'm just old-fashioned in that sense, but I think it's really romantic. And it's just, for me personally as well, that I could get a lot more out and in the open with my words than rather speaking in person, because sometimes my words get all jumbled up. I don't say exactly what I'm meaning. It just doesn't come out quite as I want it to be perceived. I guess I'm just kind of awkward, especially when people first get to know me. Like, I probably couldn't speak well to another individual if I had no idea who you were. I would just babble like crazy. I mean, I can articulate really well once I get to know somebody, but writing letters is just something that really helps get a point across when you may otherwise not be able to. And I really like that that's how Darcy went about telling Elizabeth about what he was accused of and how it was all false, and how she really got to get an understanding even though he wasn't there to tell it to her himself. But yes, I definitely 10/10 recommend this book, and I just quickly wanted to touch on that I know I'm wearing quite a bit of makeup in this video, and I know it's not correct to the time period. It was just inspired by the book, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you aren't already. Let me know in the comments below of any books that you might want me to review, and I'll get on those as soon as I can. I'm hoping to try getting a book review up every Saturday. I was just going to do a few a month, but I actually really enjoy doing these, and I hope that you do too. So that's about it. I'll see you in my next one.